Okay, is this working? Just hoping. I think it's working. Let's say that we're going live. Okay, hello. Yeah, so welcome to the live stream where I sit here and answer questions and or look at things that I got from CPAC. So I was looking through the swag. It actually wasn't that much fun this time. I think my favorite thing that I got was this problematic woman thing from the Heritage Foundation. I went up to the booth and the woman was like, "Have you heard of the Heritage Foundation?" I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of it." And she's like, "Are you subscribed to the Daily Signal?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I read your newsletter every day." And they said if I signed up for their Instagram account, I got a problematic woman mug. And so obviously I did that immediately. It's some kind of pro-life thing, but I feel like this speaks to me. This cup, I'm here for it. So definitely the coolest thing I got. The by far the least cool thing I got is this horrible shirt. Like there's always shirts that are given away for free, and this is by far the worst one so far. Look at the color; it is unattractive. Not a fan. And we are gonna see here. Let's see. You see the back is a little bit better, but anyway, I'm just kind of I've got some questions. I'll get to them in a little bit. We're going to let the live stream roll. Oh man, yeah. The tequila. I don't know. The AMA 2 shots. It was a little low, but I think we're going to be all right. I guess we could read Lauren Boebert's book while we wait for people. Give people time to show up if they're going to. Yeah, I actually got to get this autographed, which was very exciting. I told Lauren Boebert that she had great shoes, and I was right. She did have great shoes, and she said thank you. And then she signed the book, and now I have a copy of this book, which is entitled My American Life. And I'm sure she wrote every word of it, every single one. Hello, Eric. Yeah. I don't know. I have not looked at it. Let's read the intro real quick. Why not? Just while we're getting everyone in here. Oh, this is what her signature looks like. If anyone's curious, she can write. Apparently, it's not a bad signature. So, got a forward. I don't care about that. Oh, Ted Cruz wrote the forward to a book. That's nice. I'm gonna skip the intro. A tough start. I hope there's probably going to be entertaining. Let's see. We'll just read a couple paragraphs of it, and then I'm going to get to the questions. So, from Florida to Colorado to Florida to Colorado. The first campaign advertisement I launched after I won my Republican primary was called "Breaking the Cycle of Poverty." The ad highlight. Okay. This is going to be the ad how I overcame the challenges of growing up poor. The cycle of poverty is a very real thing, and far too many people in our country don't know any other way of life. I lived it, and I can tell you it's a tough cycle to break, no matter how hard you try. Oh, okay, this is actually interesting. America First Rifleman, when you say something worth commenting on, I'll comment on it. How about that? Okay. You know what? I said I'd read these first couple paragraphs, and they're not terrible. So I will read them, even though they aren't terrible and they aren't that funny. We'll read them anyway. Okay. A lack of job skills, instability at home, family members addicted to drugs and alcohol, and a dependency on the government all reduce the odds of someone breaking that cycle of poverty. I'm sure there are also powerful statistics that show how being a single mother makes it that much harder. Welcome to my childhood. This would be a great intro to a book about how to actually address the cycle of poverty. It's a pity this isn't that. I was born in Altamonte Springs, Florida, a bustling suburb in the northern part of Orlando. Growing up, I did not know my biological father. He pressured my mom to get an abortion, but thank God she refused. No comment. My mom is my best friend, so it's important you know that when I talk about her in the book, she encouraged me to tell you just the way things were, so here it goes. Mom was an 18-year-old high school dropout, struggling to make ends meet. She attended beauty school for a while, then cut hair to put money in her pocket. The struggle was real. Since mom was, okay, yeah, you know, this is actually autobiographical. It's not terrible. Let's, flip to a random page and see if it gets any better or worse or whatever. Yeah, no, it's all either like interesting or just like dull. I will go through this, and if there's anything interesting, I'll read it later. Let's do a little bit of swag, and then I will get to the questions. Yeah, I was kind of ready for that. I feel like there's like a Dolly Parton song in here somewhere, some kind of coal miner's daughter thing going on. Let's see here. Yeah, we were reading Lauren Boebert there, so it was not as let's see here. So I got a bunch of fun stuff. This was a folder that I got from the Swing State Steel board game, which you could buy. It's a game where you steal the election of 2020, and the gentleman selling it told me that everyone could enjoy it, Democrats and Republicans alike, but I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure anyone could enjoy it. Maybe it's a really fun game. I don't know. It was a clever concept. My favorite part about it, I don't have a picture of it, was the guy that was selling it was a basically dressed up like a carnival barker, like complete with like a little bow tie. Like it was the weirdest old timey thing I've ever seen. It wasn't like a costume. Like it wasn't like self-conscious. It just was that vibe with like the striped suit, bow tie. I don't know. It was anyway, good luck to him, I suppose. It was only $89.95, so I did not buy it. I'm sorry that we can't play that tonight. We'll just have to get through somehow. But we'll make it. We also everyone got a free hat. It is the Freedom Summit hat, and I'm still a little bit confused about this. They did not do a very good job of explaining what this was about, but it's some kind of pro oil kind of thing. This was their little card, so you can see they got some talking points there about how green is that kills the tree and oil is the one that won't kill the tree. It's I don't really know what that's about. Yeah, so I don't know. That was their big fudge. A big oil was definitely present. I mean, with gas prices what they are, there's never been a better time to tell the American people that we need to do is drill, baby, drill. And I don't really have an opinion about. I don't know. My opinion is that we need to look into nuclear power, but no one likes that. Let's see here. Jojo Josephine. It was a game. The game was $89.95. It's like a terrible Monopoly of some sort. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's really fun. Maybe it's like literally worth $90 to play the game that you see here. But I'll never know because I did not buy it. So yeah. So all right. So it's been a little bit, and I'm gonna start answering some questions. Yeah, okay, so D&D books, I mean, but I don't know. Maybe this is more fun than D&D, but like I doubt it, And you can also get those on PDFs, so I'm gonna go with it. All right. So our first question comes from a patron. This is Alexander Krigsman. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name right. I think I am, but I'm not like 100% sure. Okay, we're wanting a drinking game. I don't know. Traditionally, there's been one where every time I say this is fine, that's a thing. We're not really reading anything this time, so it's going to be tough. But if we read something, I'll make something up. Okay. America First Rifleman, I'm very triggered. You've really upset me. I'm probably going to need to go to my safe space and cry about it. If you don't say something more interesting, I will ignore you for the rest of this stream. So our first question comes to us from Alexander Krigsman, who says, you've been pretty open about the shift in your politics and or philosophy over time. Did you find yourself inclined to just invert your beliefs, or was it a pretty easy and smooth transition to a new worldview that incorporated new beliefs while holding on to old ones that were compatible? I never had a similar experience, and there seems to be a fair amount of people who just flip everything when they shift politics, but it seems like a more useful way in terms of getting others to reconsider things is a more holistic approach. Mostly I got to thinking about this after you were talking about Atlas Shrugged. I read it in college at the behest of a potential girlfriend and found it very easy to pick out the things from it that I liked without taking the message of the book as a whole too seriously. But others seem to give the impression that that's difficult, which seems like an impediment towards winning people away from far-right attitudes. I guess I'm just curious if you have any insight into efficacious ways to shifting things left. Whew. Okay, first of all, drink every time the bandwidth chokes is a great one because my internet is not great right now. So yeah, good call on that. Anyway, great question. Super wish I had better answers to it. The initial one is that for me, it was a gradual process. It definitely did not happen overnight. It was like I started asking some questions and then I started asking more of them. And it's like once you accept that one thing you learned might be wrong, the rest it's easier to get the rest to fall. Like for me, I was extremely committed to the idea that the war on terror was like awesome and that we were going overseas to fight for liberty and democracy for people who really wanted it. We were absolutely protecting people at home from like the evil Taliban. This, you know, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. And then like I went to Afghanistan and I saw that that wasn't true. Like that in no way were we bringing freedom and democracy to anyone who wanted it. What we were bringing wasn't freedom and democracy, and nobody wanted it. And we weren't really fighting the Taliban. We were fighting like kids with rifles whose fathers had fought the Russians, and now they were going to fight us too. And like, anyway, that really shattered something that I believe very, very strongly. And I think that was like kind of an opening, like, well, what else am I wrong about? You know, and then it took like, God, probably 5 or 6 years, you know, of people kind of just lobbing things over the fence at me and me going, well, I don't agree with you. And then think methodology, like, you know, make someone see how wrong they were and then like casually push them towards something better for years and years and years is not super helpful probably. But I do think meeting people where they're at, though, I agree. Like this idea that we're going to change people's minds all at once is not true. Like you're going to change people's mind maybe on 1 or 2 things, maybe. And the best you can do is just kind of like lob it over, I think, and just be like, hey, you know, just think about this, like consider this thing, but here's what I think. Like, it's not, I don't know. I don't think you can make it like a project. I think all you can do is in the interactions you have with people, just kind of go bloop and then, you know, hope for the best. So that's my answer to a really good question. Let's see here. Right, so the questions. Santo asked a series of questions, which I am going to answer in order. How do you like New York? It's fucking awesome. I love it here. I'm never leaving. Do you think Dems' embrace of gun control is a mistake? I mean, ideologically, obviously, yes. I think guns are really important and good, actually. I do think sensible gun control is good. Like, I think waiting periods are good. I think ID laws are good. I don't think red flag laws are good because we live in a society that is going to enforce them on some people and not others. But, I mean, I don't know. It's probably a winning political move. A lot of people see stuff like the school shootings that are happening very correctly, would like to do something about it. And guns is like an easy fix that they can, you know, broadcast. I don't agree, but whatever. So yeah, there's that. Regarding TFG, I know GOP winner, if not TFG is worse, but can we agree that orange SOB shouldn't be POTUS? Yeah, I'm not a Trump 2024 person. I'm actually not sure that someone other than Trump would be worse. Not like ideologically, like, I mean, DeSantis is got a more uniformly bad set of principles. But the thing about Trump is that he's like undoing the fabric of things. He is a cult of personality in a way that DeSantis just simply is not. And so, I actually think Trump is about the worst we could do. And I also think that he's going to run, and I think he might win. So going to take one from the comments. Do you have any fascinating conversations at the CPAC bar? I wrote about a lot of the ones that I had. My favorite one by far was the one where I got to talk to like the 2 gentlemen from Texas about, we talked about guns for a while, and then we talked about Orban, and they're like, I knew he's probably fine. And I wrote about that on Substack. One that I didn't write about is I went outside on Friday after like a kind of long day of speeches, and there were a couple dudes like smoking cigars, and I was like, hey, are the cigars good? Because they bought them from some vendor that, you know, they have these like, I think it was like Liberty cigars. They have these branded, there's a Patriot everything. It's not just wireless service. You can have a Patriot everything if you want to. So, you know, we go over, we start talking, and this guy, they're both from Canada. One of them was in the trucker convoy, and one of them sent money to the trucker convoy and got his bank account banned. And so we talked about that for a while. It was interesting. You know, they thought that was cool. They really, really didn't like the lockdowns. You know, they felt like they'd been criminalized for, you know, going to birthday parties. You know, the line that you hear a lot. The thing that was most interesting there too is like, because I knew I wanted to write about Orban and I hadn't yet. So I asked them like what they thought of it. I said, you know, some of the stuff made me really uncomfortable, like the stuff about, you know, no race mixing and how I feel like that's bad. And the guy basically was like, look, you know, that's his country. Like that's Hungary. I don't have an opinion about what Hungary's nationalness is, but America's nationalness, we're, you know, all about freedom and liberty. I mean, he's Canadian, but whatever, you get my point. Like America has a different set of values. So it's chill if Orban's nationalism involves racism, ours doesn't have to, which I've thought about every day since I had that conversation. Like I have to write about it at some point, but like, I mean, I don't know. That's it's certainly one way to approach things. So that was by far the most interesting conversation at CPAC that I haven't written about yet. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just looking. Yeah, basically, Deval 42, I think, has a pretty good summary here. The thing about DeSantis is that he has all the charisma and appeal of a wet dog. I despise Trump, but he is charismatic, and I can see why he appeals to some people. And yes, I mean, yeah, basically. I got a question later on about some of the humor at CPAC, so I'd like to talk about that. Let's see here. Ready now for the future. I don't know if this is actually an AMA question, but whatever. It was, are you impressed by Scott Adams? Just a short time after he declared phase 2, Garland had his press conference. The man has pulled for a cartoonist. And I am impressed by the Dilbert guy. I'm impressed that phase 2 happened so quickly, I suppose. But I'm mostly impressed that that man clearly reads every single Twitter response that he gets, and then the responses to all those responses. Like, if you have time to kill, go through his post and see the weird shit he responds to. Like, that man is not going to do anything because he is too busy reading every single comment on Twitter. Like, I have a bad addiction, but that man makes me feel better about myself. Let's see here. Tom Pullen, Laura in 5 years versus the country in 5 years. And I asked a clarification. This is not a me versus America, like in some kind of fight to the death. If it was, America would win. It's bigger. There's more people in it. Yeah, my answer to this is pretty depressing. I don't think I'll be in America in 5 years. That makes me sad. I really like it here, and I would like to be here, but I don't think that I will be, and I don't think that America will be anything that we recognize. And I really, really hope I'm wrong about both of those things, at least about the second one, and hopefully both. Let's see here. We've got some Substack questions. JEA asks, were there any William Buckley type conservative speakers, or was it all culture war speakers? And there's a little bit of a hint of it. There were a couple people that had kind of a more like, there were some like fiscal conservatives that got up and talked about stuff like the gold standard. There were Hannity, of all people, said that he thought abortion should be safe, legal, and rare, but left up to the states, which was not something that I expected him to say. He certainly didn't get any applause for it, but they didn't boo him. But by far, the vast majority of people at CPAC were on the culture war. And CPAC, and something that happens basically all of them is that there's like, it seems like they've all gotten the memo of like one thing to hit in their speeches. Like, there's always like speaker is going to like hit something. Like the first year I went, it was cancel culture, which like I know now they've hammered that, they've basically ruined the word, but like every speech had to have something about they won't cancel us, this, that, or the other, and it was new at the time. I'm saying all this to say that the thing this time at CPAC Dallas was trans people. Almost every speech, I need to go back through. There might be a couple exceptions. I can't think of any. Almost every single speaker mentioned trans people. The ridiculousness of thinking that men and women, like the gender binary, isn't real. And in that sense, I feel like the culture warrior thing was pretty prevalent, and I'm really, really sad about that. So that's an answer anyway. And then this is the question about humor. Was there any humor at CPAC? And I want to preface this by saying, because people will take this out of context, and that's fine. I don't mind. But humor, I feel like there's jokes that are about good things and jokes that are good jokes, and they're not always the same thing. Like the attack helicopter joke is a bad joke. It is not funny. It's not just wrong. It's not funny. Here's a joke that Trump told that I thought was very funny, even though it's not good. Basically, there was a swimmer who competed against a trans woman who swims as well, and they tied for first place. It was a whole thing. She gave a speech about it. Trump's giving his speech. He calls the woman on stage. Everyone applauds her great bravery. He stands next to her. He talks about how brave she is, and then he's like, and to prove, I think it's very obvious to everyone that men and women shouldn't be competing in swimming, because I think it's very obvious that I am so much bigger and stronger and more in shape than her that I would very easily win. And everyone died laughing, being like, they know. We all know Trump can't swim. Like, he's not fooling anybody. Like, that's the joke. And then he's like, I might not invite a lot of people to see it. I don't think I tell my friends about it, but like, I definitely win though. And it was just genuinely very funny. Like, that's a joke that you could tell as a trans joke if you treat it slightly, and it would be very funny. So there were moments like that. Like, Trump had another moment where he was like, if somebody told me I was the most persecuted person in the planet, I realized I hadn't really thought about it because I was so busy being persecuted. Like that's funny. I'm sorry. It's very funny. Another thing, Lauren Boebert is actually hysterically funny. Again, this is not an endorsement of Lauren Boebert or Trump. I'm just telling you that when you see someone who's like 5 feet tall and maybe 70 pounds bouncing around saying like the worst stuff you've ever heard in like this chipper voice, I don't know. Like I thought it was very funny. The person next to me, everyone was kind of dying laughing watching her. She's adorable and awful. I super wish that we lived in a world where she could just be adorable and not awful. Scanning the cons. Yeah. I think the language thing is the move. And yeah, the resource issue is an issue. I feel like I'm lucky in that I think I'll be able to scrape something together. I feel like we've all got about 2 years. I'm going to get to that with a later question, but yeah, I'm in the next 2 years, I'm planning to look around at some countries that I might be interested in, and then I'll figure out which language to really learn. But I do think that having an exit route is important at this point. So if you can, obviously, I recognize there's a lot of privilege there. But anyway, let's see here. So we're going to get to the NGL comment, the anonymous questions in a second. But I did want to answer a couple adversarial questions that I got on the Viktor Orban article, because I especially like answering questions from people who disagree with me. It just makes me happy. So we're going to do that. CW for Viktor Orban shit, obviously. Victor says, I don't think monetary incentive for having children is necessarily Nazism. It's no different from any other kind of social benefit or tax credits for installing solar panels. Besides, is there any socialism that's not championed by the state? Parentheses, nation. And I'm going to read the other one real quick, too, because there's a similar answer to both. Lala writes, Nigerians don't want to become a minority in Nigeria. Sudanese don't want to become a minority in Sudan. Chinese don't want to become a minority in China. Hungarians don't want to become a minority in Hungary. Which of the above is the fascist? And to address some of that, like, first of all, I have not talked to a lot of Nigerian, Sudanese, or Chinese people. I don't know how they feel about it. And I don't think any of them would be exempt from possible racial beliefs. So that fails. But the thing about these two questions that to me is similar is this, like, we're going to seize on one thing that you said and be like, well, that could be things that aren't fascism. Like, fascism is a syndrome. Like, a disease is something like cancer. It's like cancer is caused by a tumor and then it has symptoms. A syndrome is something where it's like the cause is less clear, but it's a cluster of symptoms that when you see them all together, you feel safe in calling it whatever. Like fibromyalgia is a syndrome. And whatever you think about it, it is a cluster of symptoms that we call a thing. Fascism is a cluster of symptoms that we call a thing. When you have somebody who is saying, we are going to become a minority in our own country, we need to keep our races pure, and we are going to incentivize having children for that reason, and we're going to incentivize it with tax breaks. And we're going to close the border, and there's an enemy from within that's trying to destroy us, and we have to destroy them first. And the enemy is both laughably weak and hideously strong. And you have all these things come together, then we call that syndrome fascism. And I feel like Umberto Eco's classic essay, Fascism, great place to start. It's very short. If for these people who are definitely not watching this stream and will never hear me say that would be my answer to them. So let's go to the anonymous questions. We're starting with a very relevant one. 1, Dead Kennedys, 2, KMFDM, 3, Bauhaus, 4, King Diamond. Pick 3 for the apparently inevitable end of the world, or don't. I Bauhaus and never have. So it's going to be the other 3. I'm sorry. I'm not a good goth. Let's see here. So the next one is... Sorry. I have a lot of G-rated questions for you, but they're really none of my business. I mean, that's the whole point of AMAs, though. You can just ask them. It's fun. Let's see here. Got that. Love your work. Good luck at CPAC. What trends do you see the conservatives doing as prep for the November election? Is there anything I, as a Democrat in Arizona, can do to try to help? Oh boy, if you're in Arizona, oh boy, yeah, voting is good. Arizona, I think, is turning blue, but voting would be great. Arizona, I think voting would be good. I say this as somebody who is basically despairing the country thinks it's over, but I might be wrong. And Arizona is one of those states where I think it matters actually quite a bit. So whatever, I guess there's that. Trends for prep for the November election. I'm definitely seeing a hammering on the culture war issues. I feel like, trans stuff is going to be front and center. They think they've got a winner here, and they're going to hammer it. The idea that, teachers are grooming our children to be trans is going to be something they hit a lot. Their thing is, I think, going to be to get parents out to the polls to vote in school board elections. Oh, and by the way, while you're there, why not vote for a representative or a senator or two while you're there? I could be wrong about that. Obviously, oil prices are going to be big. The recession is going to be big. A lot of them pointed out that we are in a recession. Whatever the Democrats want to say about it, please stop saying we're not in a recession. It's always been 2 quarters of shrinkage is recession. That's always been the thing. Don't lie. You're not helping, so whatever. Yeah. So I feel like we are a little bit beyond the voting and donating point at this time, but Arizona is a good place to vote and donate if you're going to, and I don't have a lot of other good ideas. I'm sorry about it. What's an obscure policy position you feel strongly about? Ooh, think about this one. Honestly, probably the nuclear power thing. It's definitely an unpopular one. People really, really don't like it when I say that. Obviously, nuclear can be. Sorry, I live in Brooklyn. It's just these things happen. I don't know if you can hear the noise, but anyway, I just think that it's a really good way to get us off fossil fuels like now. And although there are a lot of dangers associated with nuclear power and a lot of things can go very wrong, I think that if we're careful, we could actually cut fossil fuel emissions by really the amount that we need to avert catastrophic climate change. But so that would be, I guess, my strongly held obscure policy position. Let's see here. We've got somebody pushing Adrian Fontes for Secretary of State. Important race. I don't know a lot about that, but check it out. Okay, we've got something that's a definition of recession. Look up the official definition the Treasury Department uses to officially declare one. It's been unchanged as long as the internet has existed. You know what? Fair enough. I don't think that anyone is impressed by that logic, I guess would be my point. I don't think that it's a winning move to tell people whose food prices have doubled and whose gas prices have more than doubled that we're not in a recession when we've had 2 quarters of economic negative growth. I just don't think that's a winning move. I don't think people, I don't know. I feel like it's rules lawyering. You're probably right, but I don't think it's a good tactic. I think that it really minimizes people's suffering in a way that's hurt the Democrats before and is likely to hurt them again. Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, I'm happy there's some nuclear love in the chat. Imagine nuclear power plants after a few rounds of Republican deregulation. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're not wrong. That is the trouble, right? It's like if humans were slightly less like this TM, it would be better. But anyway, that's how things are, I suppose. When's he going down? I assume this means Trump, and the answer is never. That's my answer. He's never going down. Please prove me wrong. Please, I'm waiting. God, come in and prove me wrong. That's my answer, though. Just letting you know discreetly, of course, that you're one of my favorite humans on the planet. Oh, gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. Let's see. 5 favorite movies. Okay. Okay, my 2 tied for favorite is Fight Club and Drive. Fight Club's been the winner for years. Drive, I think, is edging it out at this point. Unnamed, I cry like a baby every time I watch it. That elevator scene is relationship goals. We don't have to dwell on it. Cabin in the Woods would be one. Knives Out. I'm on this mission to get everyone I know to see Knives Out, and I've been pretty successful so far. And it's God, that's up there. That's way up there for me. And probably Deadpool. I think Deadpool's going to be my 5th one. The first one, it's like really the only superhero movie in the last 5 years that I've adored. God bless. So that's my 5 testosterone poisoned favorite movies. Knives Out is great. Having built a powerhouse and working with lots of people who work on nukes, it's astonishing how safe they are. That is good. I am really glad to hear that. God, I super wish we could have more. Anyway, in all seriousness, do you believe our democratic republic will crumble in the wake of the 2024 elections? Yes, I do. And I hope to be wrong. I'm not saying that to be alarmist. I would adore it if I was mistaken. But based on, if you'd asked me before CPAC, I would have said probably. After CPAC, I'm going to go with a yes, with a very strong yes. I've always said before this last weekend, I would stay in America. I was not going anywhere, and I would be part of the fight. And about halfway through the speech, I realized it wasn't true. The whole weekend was people really hammering home this idea that the liberals are the enemy, the progressive liberals, basically communists, and that's bad, and that we're out to destroy America, and that we have to be crushed, destroyed, killed, whatever. I mean, it was really the rhetoric was worse than I've ever heard it. And I realized that, look, if there was a foreign enemy coming in, I would stay, but I don't know if I'm going to stay to watch the country that I love so much be torn apart and just rot, just rot from the inside. And I don't know, these people that they go hang out with at these events, you could probably tell I kind of love them. I love these silly bastards. I really do. They fascinate me. I find them very interesting. I don't wish them any ill. I think they're all doing their best. And to have my life ruined or to be imprisoned or, whatever worse at their hands would actually kind of break my heart. So I'm leaving. I'm going to be planning to leave. I'm going to have a back door open because I do think that what's going to happen is that the Republicans are going to win the midterms. They're going to win the House. The Senate, I hear, is pretty up for grabs. I think the House is theirs. That means they're going to be able to do a bunch of investigations. Just a lot of people talked about at CPAC. They're going to have committee hearings for everything. They're going to investigate. They're going to try to impeach Biden. They're going to just, do all this, dramatic stuff. I think next summer we're going to get a Supreme Court decision that decouples the Electoral College from the popular vote in states. I think that the push towards election oversight committees and election reform, giant air quotes on that, is going to further degrade the electoral process. And I think that by 2024, you'll have a situation where the election system, basically no one's going to trust it. There's going to be enough harm done from all of this that nobody's going to trust or be willing to accept the outcome. And I don't know what happens after that. I don't think anyone can predict the specifics, but I think generally I feel pretty confident in, confidence the wrong word. Let me just say that I'm going to live my life based on the idea that America has an expiration date and that it's November of 24. So, yeah. So anyway, that was all quite of a lot. The next question is, what do you have for breakfast? Thank you. I had a kind bar and several cashews for breakfast. I got it out to go to my VA physical, and that was my breakfast. So thank you for that lovely question. Hi, Noisy Answers Pod. How's it going? Yeah. So I've just blasted through all the questions that I had. If anyone else has them, you should throw them in the chat. And if not, I will, I think I'll flip through Ted Cruz and then we're going to call it back. Because I also got Ted Cruz to autograph my book. He was not as friendly. I did not comment on his shoes. I complimented Lauren Boebert on her shoes, and she thought that was cool. Ted Cruz did not have anything to say with me, but he did autograph this incredible tome, which I'm sure he wrote all by himself. One vote away, how a single Supreme Court seat can change history. I'm just going to skim it. I haven't looked at it. I don't know. I'm sure it's horrible. Let's see if it's horrible in a funny way or a boring way. Okay, we got some poetic intro. Oh, don't worry, it's not really Ted Cruz. This is definitely a ghostwriter. You know Ted Cruz, right? Come on, let's see what the ghostwriter has to say. Huddled in a modern all-glass conference room in North Carolina, with afternoon sunshine streaming through every window, a dozen of us were preparing for the presidential debate that evening. While our campaign had just shocked the world by winning Iowa, we placed third in New Hampshire, and South Carolina was the next primary coming up. Remember when Ted Cruz hated Trump? Remember that? He's remembering that. Let's see here. Oh, God. My debate prep team consisted of hardened political operatives, etc. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. All right. He basically tells a story about how Scalia died in the middle of his debate prep, and that's why he ended up voting anyway. We've got a Ted Cruz seems to be better than the other GOP about Trump. Yeah. So Cruz, I think, is still trying to be his own brand a little bit. He's definitely pro-Trump. Like he makes the mouth noises. But yeah, I agree. He's not as vocal about it. I think he has mostly let that dream die, though. Like back in 21 or CPAC 21, like right after J6 when everything was a little bit topsy-turvy, he was definitely he didn't like kind of stand up like trying to be Trump routine, but like to me felt like he was trying to get somewhere with it. I think he knows that he's topped out. Like Cruz is going no further in politics. I think he's content to do what he's doing. I definitely don't think that there's like an actual love lost between him and Trump. Yeah, I just don't think he's relevant anymore. So yeah, on that note, I think we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for joining me. This was fun, and I hope everyone has an amazing evening.